One of Tim Burton's most beloved films, Corpse Bride, is a visual masterpiece and beautifully crafted tale exploring the themes of love, life, and death. But if we take a closer look, it's a gothic story with a rich psychological narrative, weaving together archetypal motifs and mythological elements. At its heart, it is a story of transformation and the union of opposites, a timeless process of self-discovery, set against a backdrop of shadow and light. As the film begins, we are introduced to the main character, Victor Van Dort, a gentle, artistic, and timid young man. In his room, he sketches an illustration of a butterfly. This butterfly, a timeless symbol of the psyche, represents transformation, fragility, and freedom. After carefully drawing the butterfly, Victor releases it, and we watch as it flies through the town. Its flight is a metaphor for the psyche's invitation to transformation. It's quite evident early on that Victor is an insecure person. This is evident in the scene of him fumbling as he plays the piano, but his creative qualities are easily dismissed and overshadowed by the materialistic demands of others. As a result, Victor is a young man disconnected from his authentic self and lacks the self-confidence to reject the mold others have created for him. Victor is to be married to Victoria Everglot in an arranged union orchestrated by their parents. For both their families, the marriage is a transaction designed to bolster the material status. This dynamic reflects the superficial motivations often imposed by societal norms, where deeper symbolic meaning is overshadowed by concerns of wealth, class, and appearances. In this context, marriage is reduced to an exchange, devoid of its sacred alchemical significance. When Victor and Victoria meet for the first time, their interaction is awkward but revealing. Victor's nervousness and lack of confidence suggests that his relationship with women has been limited to his overbearing mother. Victoria, on the other hand, is shy but curious. Despite their initial awkwardness, there is a glimmer of potential, an unconscious recognition of the union that could unfold. But Victor's awkwardness and clumsiness aren't placed in jest. They are manifestations of a deeper psychological struggle. He's a man who isn't valued for his true self, but rather for what can be extracted from him. In Jungian psychology, this is a classic example of the disconnection between ego and his true essence. At the wedding rehearsal, we encounter Pastor Glaswell's, a rigid figure who represents the superego and the dominant religious principle of the town. He chastises Victor for his inability to memorize and recite his vows, a symbolic act laden with societal and religious significance. For the pastor, marriage is a ritualistic act that must be performed without deviation, reflecting the rigidity of societal and religious expectations. Yet, the pastor's perspective misses the true symbolic meaning of marriage. In the alchemical tradition, marriage represents conjunctio, or the union of opposites, male and female, consciousness and unconsciousness. On a personal level, this failure to do so reflects his internalized anxiety and fear of disappointing others, setting the stage for his descent into the unconscious. Victor's call to adventure begins with his marriage to Emily, the corpse bride. After his failed attempt at his wedding rehearsal with Victoria, he runs deep into the forest. The forest here is a liminal space that serves as the threshold between consciousness and the unconscious. While practicing his wedding vows, he places the wedding ring onto a branch, not realizing that it is in fact Emily's skeletal finger. This accidental marriage is a symbolic descent into the unconscious for Victor. Emily's ghostly, skeletal appearance serves as an unknown force, a force that Victor fears, but it is also a reflection of the state of his anima, which has been laying dormant and neglected for so long. Emily's emergence from the ground is the unconscious asserting itself into Victor's conscious awareness, no longer able to be ignored or dismissed. This call to adventure is a classic stage in Jungian psychology, where the hero is drawn into unknown territory. Victor's arrival down into the underworld is a festive welcome, but for him it's an overwhelming introduction, as he is terrified by what he sees. The underworld, in Jungian terms, is the collective unconscious. It is a space for repressed aspects of the psyche to dwell, but it is also a vibrant scene with colorful and eccentric characters, a stark contrast to the dark, joyless world that Victor was living in. It's a display of what Victor has been missing in his life, so his reluctance to accept his new fate is a reflection of his ego denying the hidden, true parts of himself. The scene where Victor and Emily play the piano together is his first step towards his anima. While he plays a melancholic tune, she joins in with a playful, spirited duet. Emily is everything he isn't: passionate, brave, and spontaneous. This shared moment is Victor's acceptance of his repressed traits, and the piano is his creative outlet. Emily is his feminine counterpart within his psyche, challenging him to confront his fears. Victor's initial dismissal of their connection reflects the modern tendency to separate the symbolic from the material, prioritizing the rational over the irrational. This attitude mirrors the plight of modern man, whose rigid adherence to concrete reality often comes at the expense of the symbolic and emotional depths of the psyche. Emily's heartbreak is captured in her haunting song.
No pain, if you cut me with a knife, it's still the same. And I know her heart is beating, and I know that I am dead. Yet the pain here that I feel, try and tell me it's not real.
This song reveals the depth of Emily's emotional reality, challenging the audience to reconsider the boundaries between life and death, the material and the symbolic. Her pain, though intangible, is real, and Victor must come to terms with this truth. Victor tricks Emily into crossing back to the living world. This return to the liminal space underscores the ongoing tension between consciousness and unconsciousness. Emily's reaction upon seeing the moonlight is profoundly moving.
I spent so long in the darkness, I'd almost forgotten how beautiful the moonlight is.
This line captures the beauty and pain of rediscovering light after dwelling in shadow, and serves as a reminder of the necessity of integrating the unconscious into one's life. Emily and Victoria are symbols of the conscious and unconscious mind. They are two parts of the tension between inner and outer worlds. Victor's journey requires him to learn to acknowledge and embrace these two forces. In order to overcome his deepest fears, Victor must do two things: drink from the wine of ages and face his shadow. Emily learns that her marriage to Victor cannot be unless he willingly drinks from the wine of ages, a potent symbol of transformation and sacrifice. This moment marks the death of Victor's ego and the beginning of his true individuation process. Emily, unwilling to ask Victor to make such a sacrifice, is heartbroken. But Victor, having grown through his experiences, steps forward and declares,
"I'll do it."
This brave decision signifies his willingness to let his old self die and embrace transformation. It is the ultimate act of responsibility and courage, marking his transition from the fool to the hero. This moment sets the stage for the alchemical albedo and rubedo stages, where integration and wholeness are achieved. In the case of his shadow, Victor must confront Lord Barkis. Barkis is the villain who personifies greed, selfishness, and manipulation. In Jungian terms, he is Victor's repressed traits, of which he fears. By standing up to Lord Barkis, Victor is consciously and symbolically rejecting these negative traits, and instead opts to lead a life of love and selflessness. The integration of his shadow is a critical moment in Victor's journey towards individuation, as he no longer is controlled by its forces. Emily's love for Victor will be her ultimate sacrifice. In the end, she realizes that her love means letting him go, to be happy with Victoria. Her release is now Victor's full integration of his anima. Her qualities now become a part of Victor's persona. Her dissolving into butterflies is a symbolization of her freedom and transformation, meaning that both her and Victor have become one and whole. Victor's final return to Victoria signifies the completion of his individuation journey. He embraces her without hesitation or fear, but with confidence and openness. He has fully integrated the unconscious mind, embracing his deeper emotions and emerging as a more whole and authentic individual. Corpse Bride is more than a dark fairy tale. It's a profound exploration of the human psyche. It is a reminder that the journey towards wholeness requires facing uncertainty, sacrifice, and growth. As Carl Jung would explain, life and death are two sides of the same coin, always and forever a part of our existence.